What is going on, guys? Today we're going to talk about how you guys can get a whitetail great one or possibly a super rare, lots of diamonds in between. But this video is going to be about how to spawn a great one whitetail. Now, we're going to do this on Layton because Layton Lakes is where I did my great one grind. I do not necessarily recommend this map. This map is a little bit rough. But most of what I say in this video will apply to Reventuli, it'll apply to Rancho, or anywhere where you might do a whitetail grind. Now, first thing with whitetail, they drink between 8 and 12 o'clock. So you want to set your time to 10:30 in order to find your drink zone. So the first part of any grind, you have to find every single drink zone on your map. Now, for whitetail on Layton, I can show you I have zones down here. We have zones all up and down the coast here. You got zones at this lake. You got a hidden lake right up in here, right about there. Okay. You'll have zones all the way up through this whole lake section throughout here. It looks like a river on the map, but it's all lakes. You're going to have it all the way up the left side of your map. You're going to have whitetail zones throughout these lakes. You might have a few on this lake. Let's see. Let's see. I don't think we had any that far over there. No. So you're going to have them right here in the middle of this river right here. You're going to have some or a whitetail zone at that lake. You could have one up there. I didn't have one up there. And you're going to have one up here at this lake. So that's pretty much the majority of where your zones are going to be. So the first thing you need to do is you need to find every single zone that you have. Now, once you find all your zones, you can move on to shooting. Now, you want to make sure when you find your zones, you really should have 16 tents so that you can place down all your tents and get ready to shoot. You're going to want to use tripods. Now, for this grind, I don't have it on me, but I mainly use this 300. Now, you don't want to use this for dimes, great ones, rares, anything like that. You want to use a 308. So you're going to use your 308 for your good animals, your great ones, dimes, etc. Use the 300 for everything else because it will allow you to not have to chase down deer so much and just make everything easier, make it an easier grind for you. Now, over time, as you start shooting zones, they're going to get shot down. They're going to be full of ones. They're going to be full of little twos, things of that nature. And so, let me see if we can find some deer here. But you're going to shoot down your zones. Try to get them to straight up level ones and does. You don't want to shoot does. You only want to shoot high level twos and level threes. Now, as far as the level twos, I pretty much got it down to just about a science here. Now, you're going to be looking at racks. We got to do the 1 minute trick here. Give me just a second. We'll go over here. Try and do the 1 minute trick, get our herds back. There's a herd over there. But so all right, so this is kind of far, but that guy's got a stick rack. He looks like some ones will look, okay? So if you find a stick rack 2 and he's sub 160 score, I wasn't shooting those. Now, some people say shoot them above 150. I didn't necessarily do that. In the last deer that I spawned before we spawned our first great one whitetail, he was a 162 max score. So I would highly recommend shooting anything under 160. Okay, so we got a big boy over there. Let's see. So right here, that's a level 1. and he's got a stick rack, right? Now you'll notice this as you get through this grind. You'll notice what I mean when I say stick rack. So like this guy, he doesn't have a stick rack. He's got an actual like basket, right? Now you look at this guy. Let's pretend this guy's a level 2. He's not a level 2, but let's pretend for the sake of the video he's a level 2, right? If he has that stick rack just like this other level 1 does, and he does, and he's at 160 max score, you would shoot this guy if he was a level 2. Now, if he was under 160, you would leave him on your map. Um, but this is how I did my herd management, and it worked out really, really well. We got our first great one in 1,240 kills. We got our second one literally spawned off of the great one that I shot. So the great one, I shot him, and he respawned another big rack great one, which was insane. But we ended up getting 2 rares. We got a bunch of dimes on this grind. We got 2 great ones out of it so far. Haven't went back to it yet, but what you're going to want to do is you're going to shoot all your 2s and 3s, but leave those level 2s that are under a 160 max score. So you can see top right, it shows the minimum score, the maximum score. Now you do need a perk or an ability to see that. So if you don't have that yet, you might have issues. But if it's a stick rack that's under 160, let them stay on the map. It shouldn't hurt anything. Shouldn't cause a single problem in the world. Now, we'll go ahead. It's been a hot minute. I don't see why we can't shoot a few of these guys while we're going here. Let's see. This guy's right about 328. But the reason you use this 300, it just does more damage. It puts him right down. You don't have to chase him down. Doesn't make your grind drag out longer, which you really, really don't want. Now, another thing with your herds, you want to make sure only shoot 2 out of a herd. If you shoot more than 2, you might have bouncers, and then it's going to cause more issues, and you're going to be walking around like, what the hell is going on with my whitetail? I can't find them. Don't know what is going on here, but get me out of here. Like, you're going to be panicking a little bit. Okay, so make sure you only shoot 2 out of each herd. Do not shoot 3. Don't shoot more than that. Make sure you're using tripods. If you're not using tripods, you may blow out a zone, and then you'll have even more issues. But if you guys end up having any bouncers, now a bouncer will be a deer, let's say this guy. He'll pop up in a zone by himself, in a brand new zone that you'll have to go and find, right? If that happens, okay, I would say leave them if they're a smaller buck, you know, under 160, level 2 or below. Don't shoot those. Just let them stay there. That's fine. But you have to make sure you have all your zones, or if you don't have all your zones and you start shooting, it's going to cause bouncers to happen, and it's going to mess up your whole grind, especially when you're deeper in. So what you need to do is make sure you always have all your zones. If you do end up getting bouncers, it means you need to go out and you need to look for some extra zones. I had to do that a million times on this grind. This grind was pretty rough for me. I'm not going to lie. Let's see if we got one up here. But if you have any issues, now you can always use the 1-minute trick to try and get them to come back to their zones. But if you use that, or you restart your game and you're still not getting consistent respawns, what you need to do is you need to go out and look for the zones that you're missing, because you're going to be missing zones. And it's going to be painful, but you're going to have to do it. You got to rewalk all your areas where you can find a whitetail zone and get out there, find them zones, and go find them deer. You're gonna have to. You don't really have much of a choice. Now, the idea behind herd management, just to throw this out there before the end of the video, you're shooting your big twos and threes, and it's going to force more ones to spawn, which makes it so that you can shoot down your zones quicker. So let's say I come up here and we got a zone back here. Let's say I shoot this down. Now obviously it's not because we got a shooter buck and we got a big rack back there. But let's say for the sake of the video, I think this one's actually shot down, so maybe this will be a better example. Yeah, so we don't have a single shooter here. It's all just stick rack ones. We got a stick rack two at 152. So this guy is a perfect example. I would not shoot this guy. Leave him on the map. Shouldn't cause an issue, and he should score under 150 anyways. So it shouldn't really affect your bigger deer spawns having this guy on your map. So you would leave this guy. That is a perfect example. Do not shoot this guy. If he was above 160, shoot him. But essentially what herd management does is it makes it so that you have just straight up little level 2s, little level 1s all over your map with your females, and it makes it so that you only have to hunt certain zones. So once you get this zone shot down, because we had big deer here, we shot them, they spawned back as these little ones, right? With that being the case, I can pack up this tent and move it to somewhere else on my map where I need to put a tent down where I have shooter bucks, right? So once you get your zone shot down, all you have to do is pack up your tent, move to the next zone where you got shooters, and start the process all over again. Now, the idea behind that is you want like 8 to 12 zones roughly that you're shooting. So you want, 8 to 12 spots where you're sitting down shooting your whitetail at. You don't want, 25 zones that you got to rotate because it's just not going to work out. You're not going to have enough tents, right? So over time, you shoot down your herds and they get smaller and smaller like this herd. And then once they get to this point, all you do is you pack up, you move on to the next zone where you got shooters, and you start the process all over again. Now, once you get to a certain point, you won't have to move very much unless you're missing zones. You get bouncers, then you're going to have issues. But otherwise, you're just going to, once you get to a certain point, you're only going to have 8 to 12 zones that you're shooting on, is the idea. That's what you're kind of looking for. And then you can put down pickup tents on the other side of the zone. So like right here, right? Now I don't necessarily need one here, but for the sake of the video, let's say this is the normal tent that I would shoot from. So we come out of this tent, we go to the tripod, we shoot. You can put a pickup tent right down here, and it won't affect your animals until you spawn there. So if you shoot a deer here, you could spawn fast travel over to here, and just it makes picking up the animals easier. You can do that when you get a little bit deeper into your grind. But the idea is you only have so many spots that you're rotating and shooting your shooters. And these should be the only zones at that point with shooters to shoot. And you can just sit there and rotate constantly. You go from one tent onto the next, and it's a smooth transition. You keep the grind going. It's going fast. It's not slow. You wanna get as many kills as fast as possible because these grinds can take thousands of kills, and you don't want to be constantly taking a bunch of time to track down animals, etc. That's why you use that 300 instead of the 308 for an average deer. Make sure you do use that 308 for great ones, diamonds, rares, super rares, etc. But otherwise, you can use that 300. It'll put them right down. Make your job a lot easier. Make your life easier. Give you less stress, right? That's the idea. Now, like I said, you can spawn a great one at 10 kills. You can spawn a great one at 1,000 kills, 5,000, a couple hundred. So all you really got to do is get your grind set up and then just keep it going, and you're not going to have, well, you may have issues, but you will eventually spawn your great one, is the idea. You just got to get out there, get your grind set up, and just start rotating. And once you rotate on those zones with your shooters, eventually you'll end up spawning that great one. Now, with that being said, that should be everything for this video. I hope you guys appreciate this video. Please let me know in the comment section if this video helped you. Please let me know if this got you a great one, etc. in the comments. But please feel free to like the video. It's free. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. It helps me with the algorithms. Please, please like the video. Share the video to a friend in need. Anybody that may need any of this information. Now, like I said, all of this information applies to any whitetail map. It does not have to be Layton. So you can apply this to other maps, Reventuli, Rancho. It's just going to be, you know, a little bit different because you'll have to go out and find your zones. Your zones will be different because they're, you know, obviously different maps. But with all that being said, this guy is a 182. We'll go ahead and shoot him to end off the video here. Put one right there. He took a dirt knot. Okay. So, with that being said, thank you guys for watching, though. I appreciate you. Please make sure, like, share, subscribe, follow, whatever the case may be, depending on where you're watching this video. But I hope you guys have a good one, and good luck on your great one. I hope you get it as soon as possible. I hope it doesn't take long, and have a good one, guys. Peace out.